Have you ever noticed that when you hear a piece of bad news, it seems to travel faster and reach more people than good news? It's not just your imagination. Studies have shown that bad news does indeed spread faster and further than good news. But why is this the case? Is it simply because we are more likely to share negative events with others, or is there something more at play here? Let's explore the various reasons why bad news spreads faster than good news. One reason is that bad news is more attention-grabbing than good news. When we hear about something negative, our brains are more likely to take notice and pay attention to the information. This is because negative events often pose a threat to us, whether it be a natural disaster, a crime, or a personal problem. Our brains are wired to pay attention to these threats to protect ourselves and our loved ones. On the other hand, good news tends to be more mundane and doesn't pose an immediate threat to us. As a result, it may not be as attention-grabbing and may not stay in our memory as long. Another reason bad news spreads faster is that it is more memorable than good news. When we hear about something negative, it tends to stick with us longer and be more easily recallable. This is because our brains are more likely to process and store negative information due to the aforementioned threat response. Good news, on the other hand, may not have the same level of emotional impact and may not be as memorable as a result. This means that when it comes time to share the news with others, we may be more likely to remember and share the negative events rather than the positive ones. Another factor that contributes to the spread of bad news is social media. In the digital age, it is easier than ever to share information with a large audience. When a piece of bad news goes viral on social media, it can reach millions of people in a matter of hours. On the other hand, good news may not garner as much attention on social media, as it is not as attention-grabbing or as memorable. This means that bad news has a greater chance of being shared and reaching a larger audience. But why do we tend to share bad news more than good news on social media? One reason is that bad news tends to generate more strong emotions in us, such as outrage or fear. These emotions can drive us to share the news with others to vent our emotions or warn them about a potential threat. Good news, on the other hand, may not generate the same level of strong emotions, and as a result, we may be less motivated to share it with others. Another reason we may be more likely to share bad news on social media is that it can serve as a form of social currency. When we share negative events with others, it can make us feel like we are in the know and that we are keeping our friends and followers informed about important events. Good news may not have the same effect, as it is not as attention-grabbing or memorable. But it's not just social media that contributes to the spread of bad news, traditional media also plays a role. When a piece of negative news is reported by a reputable news source, it is more likely to be shared and disseminated to a wider audience. This is because people are more likely to trust and believe information that comes from a reliable source, and traditional media outlets are often seen as such. On the other hand, good news may not receive as much attention from traditional media outlets. This is because the good news is often seen as less newsworthy and may not be as interesting to the general public. In addition, traditional media outlets are often under pressure to deliver sensational and attention-grabbing stories to boost ratings and advertising revenue. As a result, they may be more likely to cover and report on negative events rather than positive ones. So why do bad news and negative events have such a strong impact on us, and why do they spread faster and further than good news? One reason is that bad news triggers a stronger emotional response in us. When we hear about something negative, it can evoke strong emotions such as fear, anger, or sadness. These emotions can drive us to take action, whether it be sharing the news with others or taking steps to protect ourselves or our loved ones. Good news, on the other hand, may not generate the same level of strong emotions and as a result, may not inspire the same level of action. Another reason bad news has a greater impact on us is that it can confirm our pre-existing beliefs and biases. When we hear about something negative that aligns with our beliefs and biases, it can reinforce them and make us more likely to believe and share the information. On the other hand, good news may not have the same effect, as it may not align with our pre-existing beliefs and biases. So what can we do to balance the spread of good and bad news and ensure that positive events receive the attention they deserve? One thing we can do is make an effort to share good news and positive events with others, both online and in person. We can also support traditional media outlets and organizations that cover and report on positive events and news. By doing so, we can help to balance the spread of good and bad news and ensure that positive events receive the attention they deserve. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.